Hello, my patron friends. So good to have you all here. So we are ready for one of our projects, and I'm posting this early because I really want you to get started on it, and I'm posting a video just so you can get a feel for what it is we're trying to do here, and also there's some steps that you're going to need to do because I couldn't provide everything in the PDF, and you'll understand why in a minute. So the questions that we had, hopefully all of you have seen them. If you haven't, make sure that you go to that PDF that I posted on the first, and you at least look at them, try to answer them. So with the goddess Bridget, I chose to really focus on her creative energy. And when I think about my creative energy, I think about how this year my word is joy, and how I really want to let that inner child out and not think too much about what it is I'm creating. I just want to let go and create. And that can be really hard for me. So that is really what I am focusing on this year, and I really wanted to focus on that in February with the energy of Bridget. So I really thought a lot about, as a child, I was very creative. I'm still here. My phone fell down. Very creative, and I'm sure that you were too. I know you were. And you know, when I watch my 3-year-old granddaughter create, she doesn't even think about it. She just grabs a color, a marker, paint, whatever, and she doesn't even think about where she puts it. She just puts it on the page, and I love that. And I also want to start creating more like that. And so the questions that I ask you all had to deal with basically our childhood and how much freedom that you had. And then to go back and think about, okay, did you have helicopter parents? Did you have a lot of rules? Were you expected to do a lot in your family? But then think about some of those fun things during your childhood that you did, like who you played with, what you did, what toys you liked, what imaginary friends or imaginary scenarios did you have. One of my favorite things to play was gypsies, we called it. And my friend Lisa Pranger and I, we would pretend like we had horses, and I was married to Luke Skywalker and she was married to Han Solo. Those kinds of things. Also, maybe what games you played. I played Monopoly and American Dream and Skip Bo all the time. We used to play on my patio when I was a kid. I played Barbies. I played with Chrissy and Velvet and baby Chrissy. Also, movies and TV and music had a huge influence on my life. And so all of those things are fun, hopefully fun memories for you. Now, I did put a disclaimer in there that I know, I would say probably all of us had some kind of trauma during our childhood. And for some of us, going back to our childhood might be really painful. I know for me, I grew up with an alcoholic father, and God rest his soul, I love him dearly. But there was a lot of trauma that went on in my family because of that alcoholism. I really have worked through that, and I'm really at a good, healthy place about that. So when I do go back to my childhood, I can glean those really good things that I had from my childhood. I did tell you though, in that first post for the month, that if childhood is not a place that you want to go back to because there's just so much there, I'm just asking you to go to a place when you answer these questions that did give you a lot of joy. Maybe that was high school, maybe that was college, maybe that was in your 20s, wherever that was, just answer those questions from that spot. And then we get to what our first project is and what I really want to talk about today. So for me, I was born in the 60s, and I'm having my cuppa here. I want to have a sip before I go into this. It's my second cup of the day. I love coffee. So I was born in 1966. I grew up primarily in the late 70s is when I really start thinking about just really awesome, fun memories that I was having. And so whenever I think about my childhood, I think about like that time period from like 1975-ish, 1976. And then of course I graduated in 85. But I really wanted to focus, and I'm asking you to do the same, not to focus on those high school days but more in that childhood stage. And so for me, I was about 9 years old when I really started focusing on that part of my childhood. So from like 9 to about 12 is where most of these images and things are coming from, and these memories that I'm going to be showing you. So our first project is we are going to be creating a childhood collage. And this is meant to be fun. Like, this is meant to be, that's why I ask you questions like, what are your favorite movies, your favorite songs, you know, things like that. This is meant to really go down memory lane and really bring up those beautiful, awesome, fun memories. And in hopes that you will also start remembering what it felt like to live back then, you know, what you were feeling, what you were doing. And so this is my collage that I created. It is so fun. As a child in the 70s and the early 80s, I have a lot of disco things. You know, my memories of hanging out with my mom where we'd watch Love Boat and Fantasy Island and Good Times, SNL, which Saturday Night Live. That had a huge impact on me. I went to school for broadcasting, and Rosanna Dana and Jane Curtin, who I have Jane Curtin on here somewhere. Here's Jane Curtin. I also wanted to be a stand-up comic, and those two women really inspired me. The movie Fame, probably the movie Fame and the movie The Rose with Bette Midler, probably two of the most influential movies of my childhood. Probably shouldn't have watched either one. They were full of language and adult situations, but I didn't have a whole lot of parameters set on me about what I could watch. And so those two movies probably had more impact on me than any movie, honestly. This collage was so much fun to make. Here's what you're gonna need. This is I think it's a 16 by 20 is what I ended up using. I was gonna see if the package was here, but I'm pretty certain. It's a 16 by 20 poster board, because you want something a little bit heavier. So you wanna use that little, it's thicker, you want that poster board. I bought this at the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is fabulous if you have one in your area, because you can get 6 of these for $1.25. And I use these for covers of my journals too. So the journals I make myself. So these are so wonderful for so many things. And they're just fun to make collages on. I love to make these. This reminds me of what I used to do in high school. I used to make collages using magazine models and words and fun things like that. And then here is where, and I'll show you what you get in your PDF. And then what I really want to say about this is that you're going to be responsible for finding whatever you write on those journal sheets or whatever starts bubbling up in your heart and your mind. You're going to need to go and find these images that really speak to your childhood yourself, because that's not something I can do, right? I could spend days and days working on having this beautiful PDF filled with all these amazing images from the 60s on up, but none of them might resonate with you, because I'm not sure what you like to do. Like, I asked my daughter, she came in and looked at the PDF that I am going to provide, and she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, this encapsulates my my childhood, like from the 2000s. And I said, oh good, I'm glad, because if anybody was a child in the early 2000s, I want them to have that feeling of that's my childhood. But you know, she looked at this collage and she was like, wow, Mom, you were really influenced by media, movies and things like that. And I said, I really was. I spent a lot of time watching television and things, and you know, she was influenced, and when she has memories of her childhood, it's very different. So you may have that as well. You may remember going hiking with your mom and dad every Saturday. And so you might want to put, you know, photos that you find of, you know, a national park or something, or a trail, or the farm. If you maybe had animals, and some of those memories of what you did was you went out and helped feed the horses or whatever. So this is just representing my childhood, but your childhood may be incredibly different. All right, so let's talk about what is in your PDF. So you're going to get a PDF, and you do not have to print all of this off, because I decided, not knowing, you know, when all of us grew up here, not knowing everyone's ages, I decided to start in the 60s. And then, so there's a page for the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Pretty much the early 2000s. My granddaughter's in here having fun. Okay, awesome. She's helping in Nanny's studio. This is her studio too. So if you just grew up in the 70s like me and you don't want to print everything else off, you don't have to. But for me, I went ahead and printed everything off because I could see myself using these images either in the future of this class or in something else because they're also fun. So I did, and these images are just, if you'll notice in my collage, I did, like, I put the word groovy. I've got kind of a fun 70s looking butterfly. I've got a lava lamp, another groovy, because I remember saying that. We celebrated the bicentennial when I was in 3rd grade, and so I found that logo and put that on there. So these images are just to kind of support your collage, just to kind of give it that whatever 60s or 80s or whatever it is vibe. So this is from the 60s. The 70s, of course, I've already cut into, and most of it is on my poster. The 80s, so this would be my high school that I would use if I did my high school one. And so this is really fun, I think. Here's the 90s one that I created for y'all. I had to put the Rachel, the haircut. I had the Rachel. And then here is the 2000s with, of course, a Furby. I mean, and a ring pop. Like my daughter said, a ring pop, Mom. That's my childhood. So you will get this PDF. Now, we do have another project coming, and you will get another PDF. So this month you're going to get 3 PDFs. But I just wanted to do this early on. I wanted to give you lots of time to find your images. So how I found these, you just go to Google, friends, and I'm sure you've done this before for your journals, and just, I honestly put in, like, I knew Sean Cassidy was going to be on my collage, Leif Garrett, Andy Gibb. I knew that I wanted some people from SNL on there. I knew I wanted Urban Cowboy. I knew I wanted Velvet and Chrissy, but on some of these, I didn't know for sure. So I just put in, you know, like the Blue Lagoon. I'd forgotten all about that. And when I saw the image of Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins, which is right there, it reminded me of the controversy that was going on. I was like in 8th grade when that movie came out. It was a really big deal because there was nudity and, oh my goodness, but they were encouraging mothers to take their daughters and talk about it. And lots of memories came up during when I saw that image. So I had to put that on my collage. So go to Google, put in whatever year, even maybe you, like maybe when you were 10 or 12, if you want to focus on that age, and see what pops up. So I'm excited to see your collages. I really hope you share them with us. I hope you find this very fun. I hope that when, you know, the other idea that I had behind this, because I've done something like this before for myself, and the idea is when I look at this, I'm going to hang it in my studio, the memories that are attached with so many of these things, like I just told you about the Blue Lagoon thing. It's amazing kind of what comes flooding back in my mind, and then also the feelings I start having. And so I don't know if you've ever done mind mapping. It's where you put like a circle in the middle, and then you put okay, so for instance, you put a circle in the middle, and I would put the Blue Lagoon, okay, the movie. And then you would just kind of start putting these lines with more circles, and just start whatever comes to your mind whenever you remember the Blue Lagoon. Like, I remember going to the theater and having a really awkward conversation about sex with my mom. And I remember kids in school going, oh my gosh, I saw that movie, or oh my gosh, I couldn't see that movie, or, you know, just tons of stuff just comes up around it. I also start remembering my neighbors that went with me. My mom took like our whole neighborhood. She was like the mom that said, I'll just take all the kids, and boys are, you know, the neighbor boys went with us too. So all these memories that maybe I hadn't thought of in a while, because I hadn't thought of that last one in a long time, start coming back. So that's the whole goal of this collage, is that it will help you unlock that child spirit that is inside of you. Our next project that will be coming out on, is it, let's see, Thursday, whatever the 15th is, Thursday or Friday, let me look here. It'll be coming out on Thursday, and I think you're gonna like it. It's some different ways that we can unlock our creativity even more, and I think I'm gonna have a video of me actually doing some work in a journal, and then I've actually got about 2 more ideas, I think, that are going to go along with this month. And one is just going to be kind of a play that you can do with your art journals. And then the other one will be an actual other project. So I'm super excited. Thank you again for being here. It means so much to me that you're all here and that you are learning about these goddesses and how to bring their energy into your own life. We've got a whole year ahead, and if you don't know, if you're new here, you don't know, everything is unlocked when you're a paid patron. So you can find the stuff that, even stuff that I did a few years ago. A few years ago I did a whole class around music, and there's a lot of really good stuff there. There's printables there of images and things that you can just print off. There's questions, journaling questions and things. So anyway, thank you all for being here again, and I cannot wait to see your collages. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me, and have a wonderful weekend.